Hey Grownups, I have something exciting to share with you. There's a brand new kids podcast out now that I think you're going to love. It's called Mysteries About True Histories. This show is perfect if you love adventures, solving riddles, and maybe even some wacky math problems. But I need a little help from some new friends to tell you more. Max and Molly, take it away.
From the creators of Who Smarted, Starglow Media, comes a brand new podcast called Mysteries About True Histories.
Does that sound serious enough?
Max, we only have 30 seconds for this promo. Just tell them how your mysterious aunt recruited us into a secret order of problem solvers who travel time and have epic adventures.
I don't have to. You just did.
Catch new episodes of Mysteries About True Histories every Thursday on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Happy Women's History Month. My name is Annie, and my hero is Mae Jemison because she was the first African-American woman in space.
Happy Women's History Month. My name is Kira, and my hero is Amelia Earhart because she was very brave and tried to fly across the Pacific Ocean.
Hey, Tailblazers! I'm Rebecca Cunningham, and this is Girl Tales, a kids' podcast of feminist stories for a new generation. Before we get started, I'd like to wish a very happy birthday to Hannah. Hannah, I hope you have an awesome birthday. Grownups, if you would like to hear your child's name at the top of our next tale, head to patreon.com/girltales and donate today. Now, on to our episode. This is Winnie the Bear Gets Stuck, an adaptation of Winnie-the-Pooh by A.A. Milne. Enjoy! I'd like to tell you about a friend of mine. It's that silly little bear Winnie, of course. When I was young, before I moved to Freshwater, Grandma Nancy came over again to babysit me and my two sisters while our mom was working late. I'll remind you that Grandma Nancy wasn't our grandmother, but we like to call her that anyway. We spent the night watching recordings of Grandma Nancy's favorite soap operas and eating orange popsicles. I sat next to Grandma Nancy the whole night, and my stuffed purple bear, Winnie, sat next to me. My sisters, Mary and Claire, fell asleep before it was even time for bed. I was proud of myself for staying up later than them.
Well, I guess we should get you three off to bed.
Grandma Nancy? I asked her.
Yes?
She said back. Would you tell me another story about my bear, Winnie?
Well, I suppose I could.
And she began.
Winnie the Bear, or Winnie for short, was walking through the forest one day, humming proudly to herself. She had made up a little hum that very morning as she was doing her stoutness exercises in front of the glass. Tra-la-la, tra-la-la, as she stretched up as high as she could go. And then, tra-la-la, tra-la, oh help, la, as she tried to reach her toes. After breakfast, she had said it over and over to herself until she had learnt it all by heart, and now she was humming it right through properly. It went like this. Tra-la-la, 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 rum-tum, tiddle-um-tum, tiddle-iddle, 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 rum-tum-tum, tiddle-um. Well, she was humming this hum to herself and walking along gaily, wondering what everybody else was doing and what it felt like being somebody else, when suddenly she came to a sandy bank, and in the bank was a large hole. Aha, said Winnie. If I know anything about anything, that hole means rabbit. Rum-tum-tum-tiddle-um, and rabbit means company. And company means food, and listening to me humming, and such like. Rum-tum-tum-tiddle-um. So she bent down, put her head into the hole and called out, "Is anybody at home?" There was a sudden scuffling noise from inside the hole, and then silence. "What I said was, 'Is anybody at home?'" called out Winnie very loudly. "No," said a voice, and then added, "You don't need to shout so loud. I heard you quite well the first time." "Bother," said Winnie. "Isn't there anybody here at all?" "Nobody." Winnie took her head out of the hole and thought for a little, and she thought to herself, "There must be somebody there because somebody must have said nobody." So she put her head back in the hole and said, "Hello, Rabbit, isn't that you?" "No," said Rabbit, in a different sort of voice this time. "But isn't that Rabbit's voice?" "I don't think so. It isn't meant to be," said Rabbit. "Oh," said Winnie. She took her head out of the hole and had another think. And then she put it back and said, "Well, could you very kindly tell me where Rabbit is?" "She has gone to see her friend Winnie the Bear, who is a great friend of hers." "But this is me," said Winnie, very much surprised. "What sort of me?" "Winnie the Bear." "Are you sure?" said Rabbit, still more surprised. Quite sure," said Winnie. "Oh, well then, come in." So Winnie pushed and pushed and pushed her way through the hole, and at last she got in. "You were quite right. It is you. Glad to see you," said Rabbit, looking at Winnie all over. "Who did you think it was?" "Well, I wasn't sure. You know how it is in the forest. One can't have anybody coming into one's house. One has to be careful. What about a mouthful of something?" Winnie always liked a little something at 11 o'clock in the morning, and she was very glad to see Rabbit getting out the plates and mugs. And when Rabbit said, "Honey or condensed milk with your bread?" she was so excited that she said, "Both." And then, so as not to seem greedy, she added, "But don't bother about the bread, please." And for a long time after that she said nothing, until at last, humming to herself in a rather sticky voice, she got up, shook Rabbit lovingly by the paw, and said that she must be going on. "Must you?" said Rabbit politely. "Well, I could stay a little longer if you," said Winnie, and she tried very hard to look in the direction of the large food cupboard. "As a matter of fact, I was just about to leave myself," said Rabbit. "Oh, well then, I'll be going on. Goodbye." "Well, goodbye, if you're sure you don't want any more honey and condensed milk." "Is there any more honey and condensed milk?" asked Winnie quickly. Rabbit took the covers off the dishes and said, "No, there isn't." "I thought not," said Winnie, nodding to herself. "Well, goodbye. I must be going on." So she started to climb out of the hole. She pulled with her front paws and pushed with her back paws, and in a little while her nose was out in the open again, and then her ears, and then her front paws, and then her shoulders, and then... "Oh, help!" said Winnie. "I'd better go back. Oh, bother. I shall have to go on. I can't do either. Oh, help and bother." Now, by this time, Rabbit wanted to go for a walk too, and finding the front door full, she went out by the back door and came round to Winnie and looked at her. "Hallo, are you stuck?" she asked. No, just resting and thinking and humming to myself," said Winnie carelessly. "Here, give us a paw." Winnie Bear stretched out a paw, and Rabbit pulled and pulled and pulled. "Ow, you're hurting," cried Winnie. "The fact is you're stuck," said Rabbit. "It all comes of not having front doors big enough," said Winnie crossly. "It all comes of having doors in the shape of me. Well, I shall go and fetch Rebecca Honeycomb," said Rabbit.
"Rebecca Honeycomb?" I asked Grandma Nancy.
"Yes, I thought that might be a good name for you in this story. What do you think?"
I like it.
Rebecca Honeycomb lived at the other end of the forest, and when she came back with Rabbit and saw the front half of Winnie, she said,
"Silly little bear,"
in such a loving voice that everybody felt quite hopeful again. I was just beginning to think that Rabbit might never be able to use her front door again, and I should hate that," said Winnie, sniffing slightly. "So should I," said Rabbit.
Use her front door again? Of course she'll use her front door again,
said Rebecca Honeycomb.
Good,
said Rabbit.
If we can't pull you out, Winnie, maybe we could push you back.
Rabbit scratched her whiskers thoughtfully and pointed out that if Winnie was pushed back, she'd land right back in Rabbit's house. And of course, nobody was more glad to see Winnie than Rabbit was. Still, some lived in trees and some lived underground, and... "You mean I'd never get out?" said Winnie.
"I mean, since you've gotten this far out, it seems a pity to waste it,"
said Rabbit. Rebecca Honeycomb nodded.
Then there's only one thing to be done. We will need to make you slippery,
Rebecca said. "How will we do that?" Winnie began to sigh, and then found she couldn't because she was so tightly stuck. And Rabbit thought for a moment, how to make Winnie slippery. She had cleared her out of the honey and condensed milk, so that was not an option. She looked to her right. No ideas there. She looked to her left. That mud puddle would do. Rabbit grabbed the mud with her paws and covered the bear all over. Then Rebecca Honeycomb took hold of Winnie's front paws, and Rabbit took hold of Rebecca Honeycomb, and all Rabbit's friends and relations took hold of Rabbit, and they all pulled together. And for a long time, Winnie only said, "Ow!" and "Oh!" And then all of a sudden she said, "Pop!" Just as if a cork were coming out of a bottle. And Rebecca Honeycomb and Rabbit and all Rabbit's friends and relations went head over heels backwards. And on top of them came Winnie the Bear. Free. So with a nod of thanks to her friends, she went on with her walk through the forest, humming proudly to herself. But Rebecca Honeycomb looked after her lovingly and said to herself,
"Silly little bear."
The end. All right, now off to bed. I'll carry your sisters in.
Grandma Nancy tucked us all in, turned out the bedroom light, and left the door open just a smidge. I fell asleep with Winnie in my arms and Rabbit and Piglet at my feet, dreaming of what adventures they all might go on next. That was Winnie the Bear Gets Stuck, an adaptation of Winnie-the-Pooh by A.A. Milne. Written by Rebecca Cunningham. Performed by Tessa Flannery and Rebecca Cunningham. Produced by Megan Bagala. Executive produced by Rebecca Cunningham. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts. Girl Tales is a Cordelia Studios production. And Grownups, don't forget you can get access to ad-free episodes of the Girl Tales podcast, as well as a range of other shows for the kids in your life by subscribing to Star Glow Plus on Apple Podcasts. Grownups, if you would like extra stories for your Tailblazers to listen to, like the original Alice's Adventures in Wonderland or The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, performed by me, well, there's only one place to get it. Head to patreon.com/girltales and join Team Dorothy or above. And Grownups, you can also find Girl Tales and Cordelia Studios on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And hey, if you loved this story, share it with a friend. Oh, and remember, I believe in you.
Vienna Princess.